incoming support calls, literature requests, opportunities, setting thresholds for those, and getting the appropriate data back. But the nice thing about KnowledgeSync is that it lets you actually create a response to these conditions that you set. So using the same type of construction in the query inside of KnowledgeSync as you do SalesLogix, you can now create responses by sending alerts, maybe paging a technician for an incoming support call, generate forms, documents, and reports. So perhaps automatically generating a quote to a customer or delivering a forecast report to a sales manager. And then workflow is actually where you're updating SalesLogix or other databases where you can automatically create a support ticket or schedule an activity or a notes history record inside of SalesLogix. So a lot of flexibility in your response to these conditions that you look for inside the data that resides within SalesLogix. So how this works, again, you're creating a query inside of KnowledgeSync, and some really popular things that our customers look for in CRM and as well as other applications are new orders that are placed, overdue invoices, prospects or opportunities that haven't been contacted in X number of days, inbound queries from websites or inbound email, and even looking at directories that are full or FTP login failures, things of that nature are very popular. But the neat thing about KnowledgeSync is you really get to define what's important to you. I mean, of course, all businesses have some standard pains that they experience in doing business, but each of us are unique, and we have our own things that we want to look for. And so KnowledgeSync is very flexible in allowing you to look for your own thresholds and your own conditions inside of SalesLogix. And then it pulls that data back into its own engine. And first, it allows you to respond by delivering alerts. This is the core piece of KnowledgeSync. Every license of KnowledgeSync comes with the ability to deliver alerts. And something that's really neat about KnowledgeSync is its ability to use the information that already resides in the data that you have in SalesLogix or your other applications. So a lot of times, let's say I'm using SalesLogix and then I decide to implement an accounting package. And oftentimes you'll find when you implement other business applications, you're entering or importing contacts and their contact information again. So you've got this in duplicate places. KnowledgeSync's very aware, so you don't have to recreate that information inside of KnowledgeSync. If you automatically want to deliver a quote to a prospect, KnowledgeSync can easily, dynamically deliver that quote to the email address or the fax number that's on that record in SalesLogix, or automatically delivering invoices to customers, CCing the sales reps, things of that nature. So true integration, using the information and not having to recreate that information inside of KnowledgeSync for delivering your alerts. KnowledgeSync also has the ability to deliver forms, documents, and reports, as I mentioned. And I really put these into two categories. One category I personally call static documents. These are documents that KnowledgeSync is not creating or merging in information from the data that you're working with. It is a PDF or a Word document or an Excel spreadsheet that you can just attach onto an alert or copy out to a specific directory or up to the web, however you'd like to deliver that information. But it's basically an attachment. It's an additional attachment to the email alert you're sending out or an additional fax page, things of that nature. The other category is what I call intelligent documents. These are documents that KnowledgeSync is creating for you. So if you have a quote you would like KnowledgeSync to automatically deliver and have that information populated in the quote based on the items you've quoted them in the system, KnowledgeSync can do that. So maybe it passes over a quote number or an account number or something of that nature. KnowledgeSync creates the document and delivers it off. So invoices, statements, as well as your regular reports that you run and deliver out to managers and things of that nature. So a lot of flexibility in getting the appropriate forms, documents, and reports out to the people that need them. And lastly is the ability to trigger database updates. Now, these can be pending activities, notes history records, adding records into the database, creating new contact records, whatever it is you want to do. It's more of an advanced feature. These are using programmatic tools like SQL update statements or Visual Basic scripts or things of that nature to get that done. But it really, what that empowers you to do is really create a very custom, powerful solution for your company. This could be sharing data between applications. Maybe you're using a Sage accounting program such as Sage Mass 500, and so you want information from SalesLogix moved over or imported into Mass 500 automatically, whether it be invoices or contact records, things of that nature. And KnowledgeSync can do that. And again, you base that off of a trigger that you've set. So maybe you have KnowledgeSync watching for SalesLogix for a record that has changed from prospect to customer. And once that happens and triggers that event, you can tell KnowledgeSync, okay, now I want you to take that contact information and enter a new contact record in my accounting system, because they are now officially a customer of ours. So again, the sky's the limit, a lot of flexibility in this powerful tool of workflow inside of KnowledgeSync. So in the data mining side of things, KnowledgeSync monitors the database via ODBC, and this is a very popular connectivity source inside of KnowledgeSync and other databases, so it makes it very widely usable inside of your organization. So it can obviously monitor SalesLogix, it can monitor SQL databases, it can monitor most of the accounting systems out there. So a lot of times, historically, what you would see is once a company, even just inside the Sage world, you know, they offer several accounting packages and CRM packages and so forth. And if you chose some of those inside of your company and wanted to implement alerts, you would end up choosing several different packages to accomplish this. So you'd have different alerting tools for each of your applications, such as accounting alerts and CRM alerts. So with the Sage KnowledgeSync, you can have a single business activity monitoring solution that monitors all of your applications and databases, even some of your proprietary applications or databases as well. So it's very nice to be able to manage a single tool to offer you alerts, report distribution, and workflow. KnowledgeSync can also monitor inbound email. So this can be just your regular inbound emails to various accounts, or these can even be web form submissions. So a really good example is how we use it here at VineyardSoft. We're SalesLogix users. We have been for many years. And we have our website. And if you fill out information to download our software, or you create a support ticket or things of that nature off of our website, that information is actually emailed from our website to VineyardSoft. And Sage KnowledgeSync picks that email up and looks inside of SalesLogix to see if the customer exists. If they do, it creates a notes history record in that existing contact record. If it does not, it creates a new record. If it's a support ticket, it will create the new ticket and automatically email it back using the alerting feature inside of KnowledgeSync to the customer. So within 2 minutes, they have their open ticket, and it also forwards that ticket to the appropriate rep inside of VineyardSoft. So all of this is happening from our website, and it's all logged appropriately. The customer or prospect is responded to in a very timely manner, and the appropriate people are notified here in VineyardSoft. So we're communicating effectively, and we're making sure everything's logged and nothing is getting missed, which is fantastic. Now, KnowledgeSync, I mentioned how you can have KnowledgeSync monitoring your CRM applications, SalesLogix, and also maybe accounting and HR, things of that nature, and that's great. So I'm getting alerts, and this alert's a CRM alert, and that alert is an accounting alert, and this other one is an HR alert or reports or things of that nature. The really neat thing about KnowledgeSync is that, that's really not how our businesses work. We have transactions that move across departments, and things happening in sales are affected by what's happening in our accounting department. And KnowledgeSync's aware of that and has the ability to do what we call cross-application monitoring. So maybe I want to create a query inside of KnowledgeSync, and I tell it to look for all new opportunities created today inside of SalesLogix by my sales team. And it pulls those records back. Excuse me, I'm sorry. It pulls those records back. Let's say there were 5 new opportunities created today. Then you tell KnowledgeSync, okay, take that record set, those 5 records you found for those opportunities, and look in the accounting system and tell me if those specific accounts are on credit hold. Or maybe let's make it a little more complicated. How about we take the amount of the opportunity, add it to their open balance, and tell me if it puts them over their credit limit. Now, if none of that is true, I'm not going to receive an alert, or I'm not going, maybe I want to schedule an activity inside of SalesLogix for the account rep to give them a call and let them know that this order is going to be put on hold. So automatically, this is taken care of, brought to your attention, and communicated swiftly to the customer. So that's very nice because it really widens or makes the vision into your business larger. You're not just looking at each department because that's really not how our businesses work. KnowledgeSync also has the ability to monitor the operating system. Now, we're not out there competing with the big network monitoring applications, but since you already have KnowledgeSync monitoring your business applications and inbound email, it makes sense to be alerted about things like disks that are full, FTP login failures, things of that nature. And then KnowledgeSync also has the ability to monitor itself, and this is very valuable. If we just look at the example of inbound email monitoring that I gave earlier, VineyardSoft relies on our website quite a bit to do business. We get our lead generation from there. We get our orders placed from the website. We get our inbound support tickets are processed through our website. So if that stops working, our business stops working. And it's important to know about that immediately. So KnowledgeSync has the ability to monitor itself. And so I could do something like, all right, KnowledgeSync, tell me if 10 pending emails are, have errors. Or tell me if I haven't received an email in 15 minutes. I mean, how often does that happen with spam these days? There's always something coming in. So I can have KnowledgeSync let me know about these specific conditions so that I can go take a look. And maybe my ISP is down, and KnowledgeSync has delivered this alert that I'm not getting emails to my cell phone via text message or via instant message, which is new in version 8. So it's very nice to have KnowledgeSync there monitoring itself and letting you know if there are any difficulties that you need to resolve right away. And that portion of KnowledgeSync is free to all customers. Now that we're looking at our business, we're monitoring our applications, possibly monitoring our network, and have the ability to have KnowledgeSync monitor itself, we need to decide how we're going to respond to these conditions that are important to us. And as I mentioned earlier, the most popular and core feature inside of KnowledgeSync is the ability to trigger alerts. And that, one of our little taglines is the right information to the right people at the right time. And I always throw on at the end, via the right device. There are a lot of options in getting this information out to the stakeholders in your business. Email, text message, page, fax. And new in version 8 is instant message and Twitter, as dashboards, being able to deliver this information up to the web or maybe to someone's active desktop or a folder in Outlook, things of that nature. So you don't have to you don't always have to wade through your inbox to find an alert. We can get it there and really get it in front of the people that need to see it. Now, email still is the most popular alerting technology, and KnowledgeSync's very strong in the email world. A lot of alert technologies will say you have to use these specific email, whether it's Exchange or a specific SMTP. Sometimes you're limited to just sending to a single recipient. KnowledgeSync supports CCing recipients and BCCing recipients, as well as creating groups and sending alerts out to entire groups, which is very nice. So Exchange, Hotmail, Gmail, whatever you're using, KnowledgeSync will support that as well. Now, if we just talk about the web interface for a moment. We actually call that dashboards, but that word was a little long, so I chose web for this screenshot. But if we take a look here, we can see what a dashboard looks like. And this information, again, we can have it, KnowledgeSync automatically post this up to the web. I can have this dashboard just sitting on my active desktop so I can look for it anytime I want. I don't have to wait for a scheduled report. I don't have to wait for an inbound email. Whenever I want to know what's going on in my business, I can just refer to a web page from my cell phone while I'm on the road, or look at my active desktop. And this is a really neat dashboard because basically it is a cross-application dashboard, which I was discussing earlier, the ability to monitor multiple applications. So what's happening in this dashboard is we've created a query. We've asked KnowledgeSync to look inside SalesLogix for the new opportunities created today. And then we've told KnowledgeSync to look at the balance for those corresponding opportunities inside of the accounting application. So this is a cross-application dashboard. And you can have KnowledgeSync do multiple queries and push the information into a single dashboard. So I could have maybe the first line be the sales totals for the day, the second line the week, the third line the month, the fourth line the year, and so forth. Each individual user can have their own set of dashboards. They can even be created dynamically based on the sales rep field, and if you want to see all of the pending opportunities by sales rep, we could do that as well and just base it on the sales rep field. I can include reports inside of this dashboard, so I could have a PDF link or an HTML link inside the dashboard, and I just click on it and open a customer statement or whatever I'd like to do. So a lot of flexibility here, and not only that, the folks at SalesLogix have taken this ability with dashboards with KnowledgeSync and done some fantastic advanced dashboards inside of SalesLogix, which are available to everyone as well. So you can get some really nice graphics. You can see the sales process and where things stand and where things are working and aren't working inside the sales process. So SalesLogix has taken this dashboard concept and really built on it inside of SalesLogix, so you can have multiple dashboards in a single screen. So if you want some more information about that, you can approach CustomerFX and ask them offline to get you more information about those advanced dashboards from SalesLogix. So forms, documents, and reports. As I mentioned, we have our static documents, and then we have our intelligent documents. So I'm really just going to focus right now on those intelligent documents, forms, that KnowledgeSync can create and deliver however you'd like to deliver those. Again, up to the web, as I just mentioned, in the dashboard, you can email them, fax them, copy them to various places on the network, and so forth. So they come in a couple different flavors. The first type of report is what I call a scheduled report. So these could be your month-end financial reports. These could be your forecast reports that you're delivering to your sales managers. Weekly, monthly, however you want to set it up. If you currently have someone in your company sitting down, creating these reports, turning them into PDFs, and sending them out, you can hand that task off to KnowledgeSync, and it's going to take care of it on the date and time you set, in the file format you ask for, and deliver it to the appropriate people, whether it be one recipient or multiple recipients, and if they all have different delivery options, you can choose that as well for each recipient. So it's very nice to be able to, not have to worry about someone not being in to generate those reports and things of that nature. Now the other type is what we call triggered reports. That's the ability for KnowledgeSync to create reports and send them off based on a business condition. And if that condition does not exist, the report isn't delivered. So something that's really popular, again, delivering quotes. I know we're talking about CRM today, but a lot of us deliver invoices. So we can have KnowledgeSync automatically look for new invoices that are created in whatever application we're using to do that and deliver those off. Maybe contract expiration reminders, things of that nature. Can automatically be delivered. And again, if that condition doesn't exist, if you want KnowledgeSync to automatically deliver quotes off to prospects, and it looks every 15 minutes for new quotes that have hit the system so it can deliver it appropriately, and none have been created, nothing is delivered. So very nice to be able to have KnowledgeSync look for that information. And we're working with Crystal Reports. KnowledgeSync is backwards compatible and can support Crystal Reports 8.5 through 11.5. So very flexible in what it supports. And it can even pass information from the data you're working with inside of SalesLogix or other applications. So maybe you know that report, if you manually open that Crystal report, KnowledgeSync, or I'm sorry, Crystal would ask for begin and end date if you're doing a date range report, or it'd ask for an account number or something like that. KnowledgeSync can easily pass that information over for you. So that, again, we can deliver that report as a PDF, an HTML, an Excel spreadsheet, a Word document, an RTF, a lot of different file types and a lot of different options and to get those where they need to be. Again, the last one is our workflow, being able to use programmatic tools to make changes, updates, and transfer information between databases. So again, this is pretty much a blank canvas where maybe you are updating information to the database on the on your website. So as inventory changes, it updates your website. As pricing changes, KnowledgeSync is very capable of recognizing changes in the database and taking the appropriate action. So if your inventory has been decreased, it can update your web database, or maybe trade that information between applications such as accounting and CRM and so forth. So really this is about what are your needs, what's in your imagination, how do you want KnowledgeSync to really interact with the data that you're using, scheduling activities, creating notes history records, creating opportunities as a response to conditions that are happening in your database. Okay, so that's the end of the PowerPoint presentation. I'm now just going to take a moment to show you how KnowledgeSync works. And so here we're looking at the navigator. This is what we call this window, is the navigator. And in this window you can see what events, and so let me expand on some terminology here, some KnowledgeSync terminology. A query is just what it sounds like. You're asking a question of the database, just like you do in SalesLogix, and an event is the response. So here we can see what events we have scheduled, what events are in progress, any errors that are happening, a nice overview of what's currently taking place inside of KnowledgeSync. But what we really want to focus on today is the applications that we're monitoring. So here I've got KnowledgeSync set up to monitor Sage SalesLogix, and I've also got some dashboards if we have time to look at some examples of those today. But here we can see inside of Sage SalesLogix some opportunities that come out of the box for free with KnowledgeSync. So you can download these, easily install them in a couple of clicks, and make them your own. Maybe you want to change some thresholds, maybe activities starting in 2 hours, maybe contracts ending this month. So you can easily make changes to these, but the neat thing is that VineyardSoft offers these events for free to all customers, and they're a real nice place to get started. You can create as many as you want on your own. You don't have to use this at all. You can start from scratch. But when I first started with KnowledgeSync, I found what we call these event packs. I found these event packs very educational, very helpful in creating my own events. And we've got so many of them available. Obviously, this one's for SalesLogix. We actually have event packs that illustrate cross-application monitoring between SalesLogix and the mass applications. We've got dashboard event packs, so you can have some dashboards to start with. And again, use these examples to help create your own. So here we can just see some standard things that you might use KnowledgeSync for, alerting someone about overdue activities, maybe sending an instant message to someone for activities that are about to start in an hour, expiring contracts, upcoming events, literature requests, opportunities. I love to know what's happening with my opportunities. So if there's a loss to a competitor, changes in the opportunities that are due to close today. And then, of course, with your support side as well. You can see your quotes in the sales side, but here we have our tickets. How many tickets are overdue? How many tickets are high priority? How many of our reps have too few calls, things of that nature. Synchronization. So again, we've tried to touch on a little bit of everything inside of KnowledgeSync with these free events, but you can pretty much monitor anything you want and set whatever parameters you want inside of KnowledgeSync. So let's just take a look at a really simple one. I don't want to get too complicated here, but here's our overdue activities. We can see the query that we've used to build this. We can see the deliverables. Here we've turned on a lot of deliverables so that you can see how these are created inside of KnowledgeSync. So we have our dashboards. We're paging someone with an overdue activity, perhaps faxing them or emailing them off. And you can also see who they're going to. And as I mentioned during the PowerPoint presentation, KnowledgeSync is able to use the information that already exists in the system. So in this example, what we're doing is we're dynamically emailing the user for this activity. So if KnowledgeSync runs the queries and it pulls back, you've got 25 users using SalesLogix and it pulls back 150 overdue activities, what it's going to do is segregate those activities by user and dynamically send it to the user's email address, which is just fantastic. So if we take a look at the beginning here, it's a query where we're asking the question of the database. Basically, it's a wizard-driven process. We can just go step by step through this. We can see the tables that are available to us inside of SalesLogix. We can choose the fields from these tables we want to use in our message, in our alert message, in our instant message, in our Twitter, in our fax, and so forth. Or maybe these are the fields I want to use to pass over to Crystal as a parameter. Or these are the fields I want KnowledgeSync to use in a SQL update statement to create an activity or something of that nature. So here we're just defining and narrowing down the information we want to use later in the event. And then we're simply asking the question, just like you do in SalesLogix when you create a query. And we basically want to know the activity start date, and we chose that from the fields we have available to us here. So activity start date is not, less than, greater than, equal to, standard operators. And we chose the date variable from the list of date variables that KnowledgeSync makes available to you. Okay, so I can compare fields to each other. I can hard code the value if I want to. I can even leave a question mark. Now this is really handy inside of KnowledgeSync. Let's say that I chose not to do current date and I chose to put in a question mark. What this enables you to do is use this single query in multiple events. So maybe one event, I want to know all overdue activities for today, and another one for the week, and another one for the past 30 days, or whatever I want to do. Whatever time frame I want to set, I can fill in the parameter later in the event. So oftentimes what you see inside of technologies such as this is you're creating a query every time you want to do anything. And that query is a one-to-one relationship. You can't use that query anywhere else. And that's not the case with KnowledgeSync. If I want to know prospects that haven't been contacted in 10 days, in 20 days, in 30 days, I can use the same query in all of those as long as I use this question mark. And then over here I can enter the value. Okay, how many days overdue? And I answer that question when I create the event, and we can take a look at that here in just a moment. So we'll put this back like it was before. Activity start date is less than current date, and then we can hit preview and see the results. Okay, so now that we have the results, what are we going to do with those? And so what we're doing here in the event is deciding on our response. Okay, so here, and again, this is all wizard-driven. You can just go next, 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 and answer questions and set up You can have multiple responses to a single event, and as I mentioned, you can also, subscribers are the recipients, so maybe I want an instant message, but my colleague wants an email, so very nice to have that flexibility. So here we've created our response, activities overdue. We want it to be active. We want to know about these if they continue to be true. If this is an event that runs every day, if I have an overdue activity to call ABC Company, I want to see that overdue activity on this alert every day. But if I'm delivering quotes or invoices or purchase orders, I don't want to deliver duplicate of those. And so I can tell KnowledgeSync to track the ones that it has sent and not send them again. So that's repeat for notification of triggered items. I've chosen the query that I built from a very long list. The list here of queries and business conditions is much longer than the event list that you see, so there's a lot to choose from: defects, history, library, literature, opportunities, and so forth. So I've chosen my activities that are overdue. Now, if I had left that question mark and asked for the date range or asked how many days overdue, I could answer that here. I would actually have the question, and I'd set my parameter here. So again, I can use that query in multiple events. If I wanted to use a report, I could do that as well. We're going to keep this a little short and just focus on alerts that are most popular at this point. But here we have an email created that we're going to send out, activities that are overdue for completion. And you can see that we're pulling the account name, the contact name, the description. And it has a begin, repeat, and repeat. So you saw when I hit preview that there were 2 records. So that means that both of these records are going to be included in this single alert with the begin, repeat, and repeat. But you can pull any fields of information. You can merge information into the subject. I could even have the sales rep or activity user email as a reply to if I'm sending out a quote to a customer or an invoice or things of that nature, so we can dynamically fill in the reply to information. I could send out an instant message. I could fill in a dashboard. So a lot from a single window, I can choose from multiple responses to that query. And then I come over and I choose who I want to deliver this to. And here we have the activity user email. Again, as I mentioned before, when we were looking at the query, that I could include fields of information that I wanted to use in my response. And that's where I would have chosen the activity user email. So if it's missing from this list, I could simply go back and choose the delivery method, whether it be a fax or an email or things of that nature. I could just choose those fields and add it to my query, and then come and choose to dynamically alert the activity user email. I set my schedule. How often do we want to look for this? I kind of want to do this once a day. So let's do daily at 9 a.m. So I have the day to take care of those overdue activities, and I'm finished at this point. So KnowledgeSync is going to run that query every day at 9 a.m. Every time there are results to that query, it's going to deliver this email out appropriately to the recipient, which is the activity user in this case. All right. So I just wanted to look at the dashboards just for a moment. I just want to give you some ideas of how you could do this. Same thing, we've got activities overdue. Maybe I don't want an email or a report of my overdue activities. I want to look on the web from my cell phone, or I want to look on my active desktops and see my overdue activities. My opportunities, so again, I can see what open opportunities I have, and I can set thresholds. So open opportunities greater than $100,000, any tickets that are open, and so forth. So you're setting up your dashboards in the same windows and the same method that you set up your email alerts, your instant message, and Twitter, and so forth. So it's a very easy interface, easy to understand, easy to navigate. You don't have to be a programmer. The neat thing is that KnowledgeSync is very scalable in that I don't have these dashboards set up to a database. That's why we're getting this error. I didn't connect it to SalesLogix. But here, you'll see that you can, if you are a programmer and you want to make KnowledgeSync do some really incredible things, you can. You can come in and write your own select statement. And as I mentioned in our workflow piece, you can work with your partner or have your IT staff write their own update statement so that they can add records into SalesLogix and share information between applications and update their web-based database or whatever it is they want to do. The sky's the limit. So KnowledgeSync's very usable in a simple format, easy to understand, and then it's scalable all the way up to developers being able to do very custom solutions with KnowledgeSync. Okay, that's my allotted 45 minutes for our product walkthrough and demonstration. I do believe we have this 15 minutes set aside for questions. So, Scott, are there any questions that I can answer for anyone today?
I don't think so. Nope, I don't see any.
Okay, fantastic. Well, I personally want to thank everyone again for your time today. I know we're all busy. I hope that was valuable. And I'll let Scott close for us.
All right. Well, Brianna, if you've got, I think, one last slide, right? Great.
Yep, I do.
What we're looking at is a promotion that those of you that have hung in there with us, I appreciate it. But what we're offering is actually a free version of KnowledgeSync called the Professional Edition. And the Professional Edition is going to allow you to enable up to 24 of the pre-built events that Tricia alluded to and showed you some of those. We do have a list of all those, too, that we can make available to you. So anyone that's interested that wants to get in touch with us, you can click on the email here, info@customerfx.com, and let us know, and we can provide you with, again, a free copy, KnowledgeSync Pro Edition. Included with that is help getting it installed successfully in your SalesLogix system. And you do have to pay the $3.99 annual maintenance and support fee, but that is the only cost to you to take advantage of this free edition and start taking advantage of these cool alerts. Also, it looks like we do have some questions here. Tricia?
Yep, a couple popped up.
All right, Brianna, why don't you go ahead?
Okay, let's see. Our first question is, what other applications do you have event packs for beyond SalesLogix?
We've got over 50 event packs available on our website. You can go to vineyardsoft.com. It's in the download section. And so you'll click on download, fill out the form. You'll be taken to the download for KnowledgeSync. So you'll see the application is there that you can download. 30-day fully functional evaluation copy. If you scroll down a bit, you're going to see a table, and that table contains over 50 applications that we've built free event packs for. You'll see a lot of the Sage applications, Mass 90, 200, 500, PFW, FAS. So there's quite a bit there to take advantage of.
Okay, let's see. Our next one is, what about upgrading from earlier versions? And I'm not exactly sure what that means, but
well, there's two ways that can be interpreted. The first is upgrading KnowledgeSync is pretty straightforward, not a problem at all. As long as you're current on maintenance and support, you can get a new license for version 8. You can just email license, that's singular, LICENSE @vineyardsoft.com. Tell us your company name and that you require a version 8 license. Please include the server name, and we'll generate that for you. And the upgrade process is very straightforward and all documented. Now, a common question I also get that could apply for this is that oftentimes people ask, well, I'm upgrading SalesLogix to X version. Is that going to affect my KnowledgeSync installation? And the answer is no, not at all, just in case. I thought I'd cover that as well.
Okay. And then another question I have is, does it still use Cypress Enable for coding?
As far as I know, I'm not a developer. I can go and check on that, but I believe so.
Okay, and the last one we have here is, besides SQL, what programming languages are available for KnowledgeSync?
Basically, you're going to use SQL or scripts. You can run stored procedures, things of that nature. So a lot of flexibility in the development tools you can use with KnowledgeSync.
All right. Well, Tricia, that is all we have right now for questions.
Well, fantastic. Well, thank you very much for this opportunity. Again, I hope it was a valuable session for everyone.
Thanks, Tricia.
Well, we'll end the call now. Thanks again, everyone.
Thanks, Scott.
Thank you.
All day, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.